Poseidon Energy Plant WV-06 is a power plant workshop located in the forest region west of Charleston. This public workshop covers the side area next to the cooling towers and extends just beyond the fenced-in area and a portion of the main parking lot. There is an event that will spawn here called Powering Up Poseidon. Completing this event will provide power to many workshops in the area. We will go over this event later. In the real world, this power plant is a reference to the John E. Amos power plant located near the in-game Poseidon plant. The Amos plant has both river and railroad access. This plant is a coal-fired power plant that receives its coal via river barge and train. The total amount of coal this plant can store is 1.75 million tons, and at full capacity uses 26,000 tons of coal per day. Like in the Fallout universe, this plant was first used in the 1970s. Unlike its Fallout counterpart, the Amos plant is not locked in a personnel dispute. It does, however, have a number of issues with regards to the environment. This is one thing that both plants have in common. In the Fallout universe, the Poseidon plant that was built in the 1970s gained a new lease on life when Poseidon Energy made a deal with Atomic Mining Services to retrofit the plant. With coal resources becoming less readily available, Poseidon decided to cut a deal with AMS to burn ultracite instead of coal. With the combined corporate influences and their close ties to the federal government, Poseidon was able to gain access to military assets should the need arise. This came at a cost, though. The plant would be put under intense government control and oversight. The switchover coincided with the increasingly hostile approach to workers at the plant, which ultimately resulted in a walkout by the plant employees. The workers wanted job security and were led by Jacob Hargraves. Jacob was married to the plant manager, Renee Hargraves. She was sympathetic to their cause for reasons that were both professional and personal. Poseidon Energy executives contacted the head of plant security, Brent Olson. They ordered him to deal with the worker situation. As per company policy, all workers who joined the walkout were fired on the spot. This gave Brent the opportunity to replace them with the automated workers. To prevent Renee from interfering, Brent declared a state of an emergency and placed the plant on a Class 3 lockdown. This effectively put Brent in charge of the plant until the strike was dealt with. His plan was to use the military to break up the strike. Since the plant was using ultracite, he had no problem convincing the executives that this was a national security issue. The executives reached out to their government contacts, who in turn sent in the National Guard armed with tanks, APCs, and a full load of hallucinogen riot control gas. The plan was to use the gas on the strikers to make them turn on each other, turning the strike into a deadly riot that could then be leveraged and further weaken organized labor. That was the plan. However, things didn't turn out that way. The gas did turn the peaceful strikers violent, but they were able to rush the soldiers and remove their gas masks, causing total chaos. In the confusion, many of the strikers were able to gain access to the plant by way of the expansion section, which was largely unguarded. Much of this is documented in terminal entries and holotapes inside the plant. Checking the reception terminal, visitor questions. If any approved visitors ask, feel free to tell them about the history of this power plant. Yes, it was originally built in the 1970s, so some of the halls and equipment looks a bit dated. But the retrofits to make it operational again are 100% safe, in addition to being cost-effective. Protests outside. A reminder to inform security of any and all visitors from outside. One of the protesters made it into the building and shouted slogans at one of the executives. We need to keep this building contained for as long as the tents are out there. So, even before the deadly incident, some of the strikers had made it inside the plant. This happened shortly before the plant was placed on lockdown. Before the walkout happened, though, the workers were heavily scrutinized by government inspectors. We find evidence of this in the fuel storage room terminal. Reading the terminal, ultrasite storage. Ultrasite might be new, but radioactivity isn't. Use all uranium procedures for this stuff. Everyone in suits. Everyone. Government inspection. Another round of inspections coming up. I've never seen so many federal agents in one place. They always look at us like we're doing something wrong. Even under such scrutiny, the workers remain professional, and we find evidence of this on the turbine hall terminal. Reading the terminal, turbines. The turbines are what's actually generating all the power. Everything else is just fancy fuel to keep it spinning, so don't slack on inspections or maintenance. Ultrasite retrofit. These old coal plant machines sure don't look shiny, but they've made it through our retrofit no problems. We'll get this whole place burning ultrasite and squeezing out the juice ahead of schedule. It sounds like the workers were doing their jobs really well, even better than expected. So why did the corporate executives want to move to an automated workforce? Well, the answer is simple. Greed. Why pay for a workforce when you can just make a one-time payment for the robots and then have a small maintenance crew keep the robots active? This is why the workers decided to strike. They just wanted to make sure that the jobs they had were secure. Moving on to the plant security terminal, we find a couple of options. We can end the facility lockdown, and we can end the reactor lockdown. There is also an option to control the turrets and security bots. The only thing that is missing is any details about the lockdown. So let's check the decontamination control terminal and see if we can find any other details. Here we find protest security plan. Brent's asking us to call in the military on this one. Seems like we're bypassing a few steps here. A few tents on our lawn is hardly a national security issue. It's that ultrasite. Ever since the plant started back up using that stuff, it's been nothing but government suits in here. Plant manager's office. We've locked Renee in her office. Brent says she's a union sympathizer and he doesn't want her interfering once the military starts shooting off all that gas. So, even the security personnel didn't agree with Brent's handling of the striker situation. They did, however, follow Brent's orders. I think this was mostly because they wanted to keep their jobs. As we know, security is one of the easiest things to automate, so standing up to Brent would have been career suicide. The next stop in this story takes us to the camp outside. Just after the gas attack, Jacob put an entry on the terminal at the camp. Reading this terminal, Renee. The gas. They gassed us, Renee. It's doing something to everyone. I can feel it. It's like adrenaline is pumping into my body and won't stop. I just saw Cindy and Foster leap onto a soldier and tear his face in half. I'm sorry, Renee. I have to stop whatever this gas is doing to me. I hope you're safe in there. I love you. Jacob. Associated Miners Union. The Associated Miners Union's goals are simple. Ultrasite has given this plant a new lease on life, and that good fortune should be spread to Poseidon Energy's loyal employees. Automating away all our jobs is more than just sowing discontent. It's bad for business to throw away all of our collective years of experience. The whole of Appalachia can't produce energy without people, no matter what the robot manufacturers say to the contrary. So, Jacob, having been impaired by the gas, wrote a note to his wife Renee, and then, rather than succumb to the effects of the gas, took his own life. We can see this as being the case based on not only the note, but the body on the ground next to the terminal and the pistol on the table. The story continues now back inside the plant manager's office. We see a female skeleton on the floor next to the terminal. Reading the terminal, Jacob. I'm locked in, Jacob. I can't get out. I saw everything that happened through the window. The gas, the protesters going crazy. You. I'm sorry, Jacob. I couldn't stop them. I love you. We'll be together soon. Renee. Transcript. Manager's recording. Renee. I can't believe this. My God, Brent. Those are our employees out there. Brent. Not anymore. You saw the policy. Every last one of them was fired the moment they stepped out onto that picket line. And good riddance. Renee, you didn't have to call in the military. We could have negotiated with them. They just want a new contract, a little job security. Is that too much to ask? Brent, we don't need to negotiate. We don't need them at all. The new robots will be here on Monday. Renee, what? Why wasn't I told about this? Brent, why? So you could slip the news to the union? Don't think we didn't know. Sympathizer. Renee, that's enough. You're fired. Get the hell out of my plant. Brent, no. No, Renee, I don't think so. As Director of Security, I've already declared a state of emergency. This entire facility is now under a Class 3 lockdown. Until this situation has been resolved, I'm afraid that means I'm in charge here. Renee. What? Brent. Kyle? Kyle. Sir? Brent. See that Miss Hargraves is kept safe in her office until we've dealt with the protesters. Kyle? Sir. Renee? No. No, Brent, you can't do this. Ah! Let go of me. Brent! Brent! Wow, this story is just terrible. Both Jacob and Renee ended up taking their own lives. Jacob because of the gas, and Renee because of losing everything that meant anything to her. They both loved each other very much, and this is evident by the fact that they each wrote to each other just before the end. Brent knew what was going to happen with Renee prior to the conversation they had, and made sure to take steps to make sure that Renee could do nothing. But we are still missing some of the story. So heading down to the hazmat storage room, we find a terminal, and next to the terminal is a holotape.
To whoever hears this, I was just following orders. Check my terminal, it is all there. This whole fiasco, it goes all the way to the top. Poseidon, the military, the government, they were all in on it. The protests had to stop. They sent in the guard and the gas. The gas. Hallucinogen gas. It was supposed to make them turn on each other. That's what they said. A violent riot in Union Camp. Protest ends without a shot fired. Something went wrong. They rushed the lines. We couldn't see in the smoke, but they must have ripped their gas masks off. The soldiers turned. They thought we were safe. The plant was sealed. They couldn't get in. But we forgot about the old expansion. They never installed the security doors there. They made it into the tunnels. And the plane. They're everywhere. There's no way out. There's no way out. There's no way out.
Reading the terminal. Archives deleted. Terminal archives have been deleted due to a remote factory reset. So, it seems that Brent was just a pawn that was used in a much larger scheme. The goal was to break the protesters and remove any sympathy they may have had from the public by making them out to be the bad guys. Unfortunately, things did not go quite as planned and the situation worsened. Some might say that Brent was just a victim in all this. Personally, I think he got a great big dose of karma. He could have done more to make sure things turned out better. Everyone else could see that the actions he was taking was wrong, and yet somehow he didn't. Brent was power hungry, and when things went south, he played the old "I was just following orders" card. That doesn't fly with me, and he got exactly what he had coming to him. The evidence Brent referred to was deleted remotely, which means that someone, either in the government or from Poseidon directly, connected to the archives and deleted them during or after the deadly event.
teams are en route. Please remain indoors and await further instructions.
Well, now that this story is as concluded as it can be since the evidence no longer exists, we can power up the plant. To do so, we must repair the damage to the cooling system. Most of this is located outside in the cooling towers. Next, we can head to the reactor room and conduct repairs here as well. We follow this up with the turbine hall where we make more repairs. After completing the repairs, we need to head to the Poseidon Plant Master Control Terminal. Reading the terminal. About your power management system. Introduction. Welcome to the Poseidon Power Management System, developed by Poseidon Energy, the world leader in energy technology. PPMS is a fully automated power management solution capable of monitoring and maintaining a modern nuclear power plant and its distribution network, with minimal human oversight. Power plant management. Dedicated PPMS modules are responsible for controlling each of your plant's key subsystems, its reactors, generators, and cooling towers. In the event of a critical failure in any of these systems, PPMS will initiate a controlled shutdown of the plant, which will remain offline until all systems have been sufficiently repaired to allow the plant to be restarted safely. Power distribution management. The PPMS power distribution module conducts real-time demand monitoring, automatically recalibrating power generation to meet end-user needs without surges, brownouts, or the need for expensive load balancing systems. Legal notice. Poseidon Energy and/or its subsidiaries are not responsible for any loss or damage resulting from use of PPMS. On-site human operators and maintenance personnel required by law. Restart power plant. This option restarts the plant and completes the event. As a side note, while we don't have to fully repair each section, doing so will not only complete the event, but it will provide power to several key areas on the map. The locations that get power with a fully repaired plant are Poseidon Energy Plant Yard, substations PX01, PX02, PX03, Wade Airport, Lakeside Cabins, Sutton, Grafton Steel, Billings Homestead, and Sunshine Meadows Industrial Farm. Each of those locations has a Poseidon power box that can be used as a source of power. So, if you have a camp next to or have taken control of the workshops in the list, then you will have a free source of power that will last for several hours. I should note that the boxes at the substations provide 100 power, while the boxes at the workshops only provide 10 power. Now that the event is complete, the workshop is taken, and the sad story of this power plant has been told, what are your thoughts? Have you taken this workshop? Have you found all the nasty details in the story here? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like and subscribe for more content. As always, I'm just glad you stopped by, and I'll see you in the next one.